The words of Eric Thomas, a man whose own breath nearly ran out long before he reached his incredible potential. A man who rose from the streets to command stages, captivating millions around the world. They call him E.T., the hip-hop preacher, and his mission is clear: to help you unleash the greatness that lies within. This is a story of resilience, of a fight against unimaginable odds. This is the story of Eric Thomas. Eric Thomas wasn't born to a life of privilege. Born in Chicago, his story truly began amidst the gritty streets of Detroit. There, his mother, Vanessa Thomas, was his rock, his best friend, the one constant in a life of uncertainty. They shared a bond forged in the fires of hardship, battling financial struggles and the lack of consistent stability. But even within that small, loving unit, cracks began to appear. Around the age of 12 or 13, whispers in the streets and Eric's own growing awareness cast doubt upon the identity of his father. The person he'd looked up to, the man whose name he carried, might not have been his dad at all. Hesitantly confronted his mother, seeking the truth. Her answer shattered his world. Years of deception, a foundation of trust broken. Eric's heart turned against the woman who had been both mother and a friend to him. An unbridgeable chasm opened between them. Once his guiding star, his mother was now merely another source of pain and betrayal. He became withdrawn, lashing out at school. A promising student transformed into a defiant young man, teetering on the edge of despair. Eric found himself hanging out with a bad crowd. Grades plummeted. The future Eric's mother envisioned for her son, the promise of college and a better path, clashed violently with his newfound desire for self-destruction. At 17, barely an adult, Eric made the tragic choice to leave home. Unable to bear the suffocating disappointment, the streets of Detroit became his grim refuge. Cut off from any support system, Eric Thomas was swallowed whole by the unforgiving streets of Detroit. The boy who dreamt of touchdowns and classrooms was now scrabbling for survival. Abandoned buildings became his shelter, their cold concrete floors a cruel substitute for the warmth of a home. The gnawing hunger was a constant companion. Days were a desperate scavenger hunt, digging through trash cans for scraps of food and stealing from stores just to stay alive. Sometimes, Eric could slip into restaurants, not to order a meal, but to bask in the warmth while pretending to wait for someone. Churches became a lifeline, not just for the promise of spiritual salvation, but for the hot meals and occasional donations that kept him clinging to life. Yet, even in his darkest moments, a flicker of ambition remained. He knew this abyss wasn't meant to be his final chapter. The guilt of seeing his mother's hope turn to despair ate at him. There was a part of him, the part that had loved school and dreamed of a better life, that refused to be extinguished. That small spark of self-belief would become the key to his eventual escape. One glimmer of hope came from an old high school friend. Despite Eric's downward spiral, this friend hadn't abandoned him. He reached out, offering a lifeline in the form of a church service. There, Eric encountered a pastor whose compassion and unwavering faith struck a chord within him. The pastor saw beyond Eric's rough exterior and broken spirit, recognizing the potential that lay dormant. He became a mentor, a guiding light in Eric's darkest hour. The pastor's encouragement, coupled with the camaraderie he found at the church, began to chip away at Eric's despair. He urged Eric to get his life together and pursue a college education, believing that knowledge and a degree could be the key to a brighter future. Around this time, Eric also met a young woman named Dede Mosley at the church. Their shared faith and struggles forged a bond between them. Dede, a college student herself, refused to enable Eric's self-destructive behavior. Instead, she challenged him to rise above his circumstances and pursue his education. Her unwavering belief in him became a powerful motivator. Eric wasn't sure exactly what his future held, but he enrolled at Oakwood University with his girlfriend Dede. During his freshman year, he stumbled upon a group called WSB, Willing Succeeding in Black. This organization focused on empowering Black students through mentorship and positive messages. It was the first time he was around a group who were not just talking about drugs, guns, girls, and gangs. He found himself drawn to their events and volunteered to help out. One day, the scheduled speaker for a WSB event fell ill and couldn't make it. With little time to find a replacement, the organizers approached Eric, who had been actively involved with the group. Despite his initial hesitation, Eric felt a nudge to step up. He decided to draw on his own experiences of overcoming adversity and share his story with the audience. Standing in front of a crowd of 300, 400 people, Eric poured his heart out. He spoke with passion and honesty about his struggles with homelessness, his doubts and regrets, and ultimately, his newfound determination to succeed. To his surprise, the audience responded with thunderous applause and cheers. The raw energy of the moment ignited something within Eric. He discovered a newfound passion for public speaking. He realized that he could use his voice to not only motivate himself, but to inspire others facing similar challenges. He started to look forward to the chances to speak. The boy who had once struggled to find the motivation to get out of bed in the morning was now driven by an unwavering purpose. He began to craft his unique persona, drawing on the lessons of his life and the culture he understood. Blending the intensity of a street corner preacher with the raw energy and rhythm of hip-hop, he fashioned something entirely new. He was no longer just Eric Thomas. He was E.T., the hip-hop preacher. But E.T. knew that passion alone wouldn't create lasting impact. The initial success ignited a hunger for knowledge. He was determined to refine his skills, to back up raw emotion with substance and wisdom. Despite the demands of his burgeoning speaking career, he returned to Oakwood University, finally completing the degree he'd begun over a decade earlier. Not satisfied, he pushed further, achieving a master's degree in educational administration from Michigan State University. This relentless self-improvement became the cornerstone of his success. With a newfound focus, he founded ETA LLC, a company solely dedicated to spreading his message of empowerment. Word of this dynamic speaker, who understood both the struggles of the streets and the discipline required of scholars, began to spread. Schools, universities, and corporations sought him out. And then came the pinnacle, invitations to speak to top-tier athletes in the NFL and NBA, the kind of people Eric had once dreamed of becoming. Eric Thomas was no longer just a survivor, he was a phenomenon. The boy who'd been lost had become a beacon for millions, proving that no past is too painful to rewrite, no dream too big to achieve. E.T. understood that his message needed to reach beyond the stages he stood upon. He embraced the burgeoning power of the internet, launching a YouTube channel where he shared snippets of his most compelling speeches. His genuine, unflinching style resonated with viewers worldwide. No slick production or fancy edits, just raw truth delivered with an intensity that cut through the digital noise. The online success opened new doors. E.T. turned his insights into books, The Secret to Success and Greatness is Upon You, becoming bestsellers. These weren't fluffy self-help manuals, but powerful guides forged from lived experience, blending practicality with inspiration. His words solidified his position as more than a motivational speaker. He was a genuine thought leader. Figures from industries far beyond education and sports reached out, seeking E.T.'s unique brand of wisdom. Celebrities, entrepreneurs, and even politicians sought his counsel. Eric Thomas, the man once ignored by society, was suddenly a sought-after advisor to the powerful and elite. Eric Thomas's impact goes beyond YouTube views. He's a beacon of hope, proving that self-belief can transform lives. From homelessness to captivating the world, his story is one of resilience and boundless potential. If Eric Thomas's story has sparked a fire within you, you might also enjoy the remarkable journey of Justin Bieber. From small-town beginnings to global superstardom, his story is one of passion and determination.